It's time to take a look at the front pages of the national dailies, and as usual here we'll start with the Daily Trust newspaper there, and the front page is packed with a lot of stories. The major story there says patients groan over rising cost of drugs. The writers are saying over 70% of medicines imported, and experts advocate local production. I mean, are we there yet for people to, produce, for Nigerians to produce drugs? Are we there yet? Considering, I think I watched a video earlier today where even in America, the USA, there is always complaint also of the health sector charging a lot of money, where people are saying you go to the hospital and then you're given a teller and you realize that the invoice you're given, you have paid for a lot of things that you did not even do. So it's like there's massive inflation when it comes to the health sector, which is also scary as well, considering the economy, the world inflation, because let's not forget, it's not just only Nigeria that is witnessing the world inflation. All right, so another writer there says it's tough treating my aged mom. That's according to civil servant. I mean, Fatima, with all these things that is happening, yet people are falling sick. And we're talking about how people are finding it difficult to even get the basic necessities. We're talking of food, your house, shelter, rent, and even transportation, moving from one place to another. And immediately someone in your family falls sick. There's that fear of how much am I going to spend?
And how much have you even saved?
Exactly.
It depends on how much you're even earning.
It depends on how much you're earning. How much is everybody earning? That should. So
you remember I was saying, like, someone earning 30,000 naira, and you're having family of 4, 5, 6. Some people have some men have children like 7, 10, 12.
Exactly. Well, let's even just use the minimum wage, which is 35,000 naira,
exactly,
which is super small for what is happening. And I know that there was a research done on Trust television also about these antibiotic drugs that all of a sudden skyrocketed. Yeah. Something that you used to buy for about
4,500, 3,800, now
it's 25. Some people are even counting 27 to 28. So it's becoming too scary, for people to purchase drugs. And another writer is saying that patients now skip dosage to save cost.
Yeah.
So when doctor prescribe a drug for you, you're supposed to take it for 2 months or 3 months. That is scary. How am I going to afford something that is so pricey when I'm barely able to even feed myself?
And I feel, with this, it can actually push people to start using herbs.
Indeed.
Because they feel they can easily afford it, or just go to the bush and just see what they can.
I mean, the stakeholders are also pushing on that. I mean, there was stakeholders meeting that happened where they are now promoting, trying to bring in alternative medicines. That's talking about the herbals, how they will incorporate it into helping the health sector, because as it is, the fact that we import every kind of drug is taking a toll on Nigerian citizens. And it's really sad. Another writer there says exit of pharmaceutical firms, forex shortage aggravates woes. Now we are also seeing complaints from the pharmaceutical firms and industry also complaining how this thing is biting harder. So it's really looking sad. I mean, if there's anything that the federal and state governments and of course the Minister of Health can do, then it would be great for Nigerians. Well, below that, we have again FCT residents raise alarm over rising cases of kidnapping. Security experts prefer solutions. Okay, now this is what we want. I remember when the budget came out, there was a lot of experts coming out to explain how they expect the whole, allocation of this budget should be. So right now we're having experts on security also coming out to prefer solutions, which is something that we need to take seriously, because based on our budget, security is taking the chunk load of it. So we need other people to give perspective on how this can be solved, because the rate of insecurity in Nigeria, it is alarming. It is so scary. People are no longer safe, and I am so scared for even citizens right now. They are traveling for festivities this season. So I just hope that everyone gets to their destination safe. Beside that, we have concerns as 309 die from tanker explosions in 3 years. You'll find this on page 28, a really sad situation there. At the bottom of the page, we have wheelbarrow pusher kills tax collector over 15 naira and commits suicide.
Wow.
Now, this is
15
one
naira,
of,
you see?
Yes.
Mental health.
This is exactly, no, this is one of the things that we keep pushing also for Fatima, where we say that sometimes there is a multiple tax collection on someone. I mean, last time we did have someone from CAC also explaining how they're working on it in order to reduce the multiple taxation. Also, the president made one of his remarks in his inaugural speech also about taxation. You pay from here, you pay from here. We've seen restaurant owners even complain about these things. Say today someone from AMAC will come and tell you to pay. Tomorrow someone will tell you from
so who exactly are we paying tax to?
At the end of the day, you're paying multiple tax, and perhaps it could just be one that will be generating revenue for the country. So there is that fear. So this man already is only a wheelbarrow pusher.
What kind of frustration will make someone, to just go ahead and take someone's life for 15 naira?
And he regretted it because it was a quick action, and then he committed suicide.
So that's temper. And anger. That's why people need to go for anger management.
Indeed, anger management. And also the government should find a way to keep people safe from this.
I think they should incorporate that into hospitals. When people come, you try to check on their mental health. Ask them if they are okay, or ask some questions, especially when you see someone maybe misbehaving or behaving abnormally. I think that will help.
But you do know that sometimes it's not really, just anger management will not really be considered a mental health issues. Sometimes it's frustration.
Definitely.
So if you're not able to just hold yourself back, it becomes toxic, and you do something, and before you know, you regret it. But how aggressive must that tax collector have been towards this man for him to get so riled up,
agitated,
exactly, with the economy? A really, really sad situation there. We hope that things like this, never happens again. Already we are losing a lot of people. We don't need to lose more from this kind of things. So we have NAFJET crashes in Port Harcourt, and another sad situation, but we are happy that, they are all the people there survived that crash. Below the headlines there, we have South Africa doctor Imtiaz Soleiman emerges 2023 Daily Trust African of the year, which is really amazing. So in the entertainment segment also, we have my poor background propels my quest for success. That's according to Sabinos. You find this on page 12. I mean, if there's one thing everyone can agree with is this saying that says, necessity is the mother of innovation. When you are rich, you don't think of other things to do. But when you are poor, then definitely there's something that will push you to say, I need to stand up and find a way to get myself out of that trouble. So
a friend actually told me that she watches people making skits or doing all this comic, mimics and all that, and she was saying, well, she actually thought they don't have a job, but then she understands now that people actually have jobs, but then they are also carrying out those taxes to see how they can make money from other sides too. So which is actually.
Indeed. I mean, social media now, people are cashing out with that. So it's good that Sabenos is telling us a story here on the Daily Trust newspaper, so you can pick the Daily Trust and get these stories and even more. Yeah, so these are some of the stories of course, on the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. Okay,
so let's quickly move to the Punch this morning. Budget. National Assembly laments lack of details. Passed bill December 19. You can find that story on page 4. Passports ready 3 weeks after capturing, says immigration boss. You can find that story on page 27. And the writer there says, banks fear rush as CBN bars customers without BVN, NIN, April. Apex Bank orders electronic revalidation of BVN, NIN attached to accounts wallets in January 31st. Account holders orders fear new round of hardship and naira scarcity. So, Mardia. I don't know why Mardia came to my mind this morning, but then I think I need to check up on her afterwards. You can find that story on page 4. But then, Sumaya, what do you think? Because people are actually, becoming scared of, this revalidation of BVN and NIN, because some people actually have lost their sleeps.
Yes.
The printout from NIMC and what have you. So I'm wondering how they will carry on, because they are scared that naira scarcity may come up again, because some people's accounts may be on hold if their BVNs are not attached or their NINs are not attached?
First of all, I think there should be a recovery process for that. I mean, you can go to the NIN this thing and give them your information, so they would be able to print another one for you. And if it comes to this NIN and BVN, it's always good to save it on your phone. So you can easily take the picture of your
or the slip, or even the serial number they sent to you on your. I actually have mine in my inbox, but so I can't remember really the person that sent it because it's in 2020, I think. Yeah. I did that in Bauchi, so I can't actually remember. So but when I go and type in, it should come out.
Exactly, there is always that. So you need to just find ways to save.
And then you can actually also check via your bank. I think there's a code that you actually can put, and then it comes up.
Yes.
Yes. So I think for everyone that has that, it will be easy for them to just access it that way. So yeah, you can find that story on page 4. You can pick the Punch and then go through that. Dad, proud I repeated this academic feat 25 years after. CU first class graduates. You can find the story on page 28. Tinubu has political will to revive Ajakuta Steel. DG, you can find that story on page 2. Now,
I was just hearing that talk. I mean, if there is one thing that I will remember Malam Nuruddin Abdullah, editor of 24th Century Chronicle, always say is that abandoned Ajakuta, steel. So also I heard it on radio while coming to work. Also, people are still talking about pushing. There are lots of things that would generate revenue at this point
in the country that we need, and
crying that we don't have enough money. So definitely,
instead of going out to borrow money all the time to carry out.
So it's a good thing to hear that the president has plans for that.
We can't wait. We hope he does better in that aspect. Indeed. Okay, you can still find that story on page 2. Limb for penny, untold ordeal of casual worker who lost body parts leaves on duty. You can find that story on page 20 and 21. Oh my God, Sumaya. I don't know if you can see the picture, even though it's a bit blurry, but that I can imagine how painful that could have been.
Really sad.
Indeed. Blessing. I'm not wayward. Blessing CEO. Dramatic Blessing CEO. I don't know. This lady is handful.
Well, she said she's not wayward, so let's read her story. That one.
So page 18, you can find that story on page 18. FG may raise workers' pension in 2024. Wage commission. So you can find that story on page 26. We hope it's actually, because we just spoke about the living hardship for people earning a minimal salary and what have you. I hope this works, especially for civil servants.
And let's not forget, we're talking about pensions right now. So let's not forget one of the important things. In Nigeria, it's now customary, it's now normal, for children to be the retirement plan of the parents, where the parent retire and they're not getting enough from their pension, and the children will now have to do their own and their parents' own. And it's not, it's something that you want to do joyfully for your family, but then it's becoming too much. So the responsibility on the younger generation is becoming too much.
Yes.
So there is so much pressure, and then people find themselves doing the odd and annoying bad things in order to keep up with that. So
and then I think that's where anger and frustration comes. And then people tend to carry out some unwanted behaviors. Remember when we talked about, when we did the phone conversation on pension, how people are finding it difficult to even access
the normal usual
their parents, their late parents' pension and what have you. I hope this, and they should actually incorporate making it easy for people to access their parents or their loved ones' pensions after death. I think that would go a long way. So you can find all that story on the Punch newspaper this morning.
All right, so let's move on to the Nation's newspaper. From the top of the page, it says CBN freezes accounts without BVN NIN from March 2024. You find this on page 3 of the newspaper. 5 escape death as NAF helicopter crash lands in Port Harcourt. The major story says tension in Kogi over gunmen's attack on Rex residents. Yes, that story has been trending since yesterday. The writer says APC demands arrest of SDP candidate Ajaka over incident. Okay. Says party trying to cover haste committed in Kogi East. We are not responsible for attack. That's SDP insisting. Police confirm attack on INEC officials' home. You find all the stories on page 4 of the Nation newspaper. A really sad situation. The aftermath is really scary. There is the pre-election crisis, which was the fear, and the election crisis. But then now the post, it's coming to be something really scary. We just hope that the law enforcement, the INEC, and Kogi governments are able to curtail this situation. So we have Nigeria, Germany sign about 12,000 megawatts of power deal, which is a great news for Nigeria. We hope that the deal pushed through in order to favor Nigerians. You find this on page 3. We have Senate to federal government block allocations to unelected local government councils. The lawmakers tell earlier to restore sacked Benue councils. Upper Chamber passes 2024 appropriation bill for second reading. House also, you find this on page 5. The FRC fines Namasa 500 million naira over 2018 financial accounts, suspends about is it JAMOS or 4 delays registration number. You find this on page 2. Now, quickly on the Senate to federal government block allocations to unelected local government councils. First of all, I have 2 things to say. I don't even know how a governor can unseat a local councillor that was voted into. It doesn't even make sense. That was elected. It doesn't even make sense. So we need to go back to our constitution and define what roles someone can do. You can only dismiss people that were given appointments, not people that were elected by the people. Those people represent a part of another people that voted for them. But apart from that, also we need to push on allocation, to the state governments. One thing that we tend to focus on is the federal government. The federal government brought a budget of 27 trillion naira, and when you ask yourself, so that money is not only for the federal government, there is definitely a budget from your state. So I will give you an assignment, you from your own state. How much did your state governor get from that allocation? And the local government councillors we're talking about, that you also need to go and check. Let's keep everybody accountable in terms of our money, because at the end of the day, everybody keeps coming back to blaming the federal government, and we forget the state government keeps slipping away with a lot of things that they are not doing right. So let's go back to our states, and then we can get more information on this. Now, these are some of the stories on the Nation newspaper this morning.
Okay, so let's take a look at the Guardian this morning. POS scammers plunging the wheel of digital transaction nationwide. Samaya, we are back to this again. So people are going to lose their monies, their little savings, because you always find scammers. And people keep falling victims when they call them and say, oh, it's this pin that is sent to your phone or something, and then before you know, your money is gone. And I think, this is all adding to, people's mental stress and, aggression, frustration, and what have you.
EFCC also made a call on that, saying that you need to be careful going to POS or ATM. When you put your card, sometimes someone might approach you to say, I want to help. And without knowing, they will switch your card. So you might now go to the bank, and then before you know it, you start hearing.
And I think maybe that will actually, saying they want to help would go for the maybe older ones that maybe they find at the ATM trying to withdraw their cash.
So don't go alone.
Don't go alone. Exactly. So yeah, you can find that story on the Guardian newspaper this morning on page 24. Valentina Uto, I am passionate about women who refuse to settle for less, instead forge ahead to beat strategies.
Okay, that's a good thing. I mean, at the end of the day, people say lower your standard, but no, you shouldn't. Just believe in yourself for every kind of thing that you dream there. If as long as you set a standard that you say this is what I want, then you have to also work to make yourself valuable
to be worthy of that standard that you've set for yourself. So you can find that story on page 15 of The Guardian. The writer there says 2024 budget concerns as Tinubu dumps manifesto allocates 12.8% to social sector. You can find that story on page 2. So Maya, what do you think about this? Because the manifesto actually tells us what they intend to do when they come to the office, when they resume their duties as elected.
One thing I would say on this is that if there is one thing that is clear to everyone, is that when you are not on the seat,
you
it
may
looks
know.
different. So
Yes.
you're looking at the whole
See it
picture
from a different
different.
angle.
But then when you now sit on that throne, then you start seeing the things as they are. So that is what is happening to the president.
So
of
there are some
Nigeria.
certain things that
right
you
now,
can't,
he's just
you
discovering
can't
a lot of
overlook
things.
and you
Exactly.
can't dump. So, but then I feel it's social sector, you know, it captures the entertainment world as well, because when you say social, it brings in everything. And you know, the entertainment.
There's also amenities and all that. So we'll just have to wait and see how this is going on. If there is one thing that, you know, we can give kudos to Mr. President, is that he listened.
He does.
There must be something
He
that
does.
he must have seen in order to make that
That allocation, yeah. So you can find that story on page 2 of the Guardian. You can pick it up this morning. Withhold allocation to local councils without elected officials. Senate urges Tinubu. You can find that story on page 3. CBN to freeze accounts without BVN NIN, April 2024. So if you haven't done your NIN or you've lost it, please, we urge you to go and do that so that you will be able to access your cash when that is done. Because if your accounts are frozen, you wouldn't have access to your money, and so, you know, life is going to be a bit hard. Definitely. So please, you can find that story on page 29, so you can find more information on that. Criminality is messing up Biafra struggles. IPOB chieftain laments. You can find that story on page 3. Police hunts for attackers of Kogi residents. APC SDP trade blames. You can find that story on page 2 of the Guardian newspaper. And I think that's it. That's all we can take this morning, Sumaya.
Indeed. All right. So there is one thing that I always love.
You always do, yeah.
Exactly.
The numbers.
The numbers on the Daily Trust newspaper.
Yeah. So let's hear
quickly. We have about young men and women were on Sunday given marriage counseling in Kano, and guess how the numbers? About 1,000.
That's cool.
Which is a great
Cool.
move, because one thing that we all know is that when it comes to, especially in northern Nigeria, the only thing we do is just you just listen to
do
your
this and don't do that,
and then for the man they will tell you, people, be patient. That's just it.
Yeah.
So getting marriage counseling ideas is something it's something that we welcome now in the northern parts of Nigeria, and also Nigeria in general. A lot of marriages are going down. We're getting a lot of divorce crisis. So hearing that now there is that push on counseling in Nigeria is something that we're really grateful for. Marriage is supposed to be amazing. Okay, so have faith and let's learn more about it.
It's supposed to be happy ending.
Exactly. It's not a fairy tale though, because
but it's supposed to be happy ending.
Indeed. All right. So another number, we have amounts in Naira new loan that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu sought to Senate approval to borrow for critical projects in different sectors. It's about 71 trillion Naira. That's a huge number.
It is.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's about using that money to do a project that would yield more money so that we can be able to pay back, and then it will help the economy to grow. So, yeah, for now, the number is scary, but then we hope that we're able to pay back.
Yeah.
So, another number, we have 11 loggers beheaded by suspected Boko Haram insurgent near Bali in Damboa local government of Borno State, which is a really sad one. Being beheaded for something trivial.
Even seeing the acting in a movie, it's
exactly it's really a sad situation, and we hope that the number stops there. We hope the security agents are able to hold these people accountable. And we have another number of 150 number of inmates with options of fines that the federal government released in Kano to decongest the custodial centers. So that is also a great thing. Sometimes you realize that the people just did something really trivial. It's just a fine that they're supposed to pay, but they don't even have the money for that. So the federal government are doing that, and other stakeholders, NGOs, putting together money to help these people out is something that is really great. Well, anyways, yeah, these are the front pages that we were able to bring to you this morning.